Well, here we are in its 30th year, Mo. It's the Princess Royal Challenge Cup, the 30th year of the Open Women's Singles. And from Whistler in Poland, it's Marta Wieliczko, who has a huge experience on the Olympic stage. And she is sitting there just getting her boat straight. As you say, this will be quite a tense moment. She wants to make sure no mistakes straight through to that final. And opposite her from the US of A, just swooping across this Henley start line now, we'll see Sophia Luwis from White Marsh Boat Club in the USA, US lightweight. Also really experienced athletes, but even as experienced athletes, Ray, you were here on the start line as the engine room of the British team. You were still nervous. Yeah?
Oh yeah, most definitely. A lot can happen in this first 200 meters, and you really want to try and keep as cool, calm, and collected as possible as you sit on this start line.
So Wieliczko, the Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo, gets away cleanly alongside Sophia Luwis of the USA. Sophia Luwis, the lightweight sculler, and Wieliczko, silver medalist in Tokyo, so lots of experience and international experience here, but there's nothing quite like this two-lane track.
No, there is not, and this is a good example of what lightweight versus heavyweight rowing will be like. So we expect Sophia Luwis to be slightly more nimble off the start, maybe rate a little bit higher than Wieliczko, and then from here it will be really interesting to see how this race pans out through the middle, where you would expect, but it's not always, don't always get where you expect at Henley, where you would expect the Polish sculler to maybe use her length and strength as she goes down the course.
Yeah, lovely shots of these two going off the blocks, and on the far side the pole is just a little bit ahead at this moment. It's really neck and neck, and as you said, as a lightweight you've really got to think about the speed and the efficiency, get the boat moving as fast as possible. Maybe at the beginning the heavyweight might have the advantage of that explosive power out of the block.
Yeah, so traditionally everyone thinks of a lightweight as being someone that's incredibly technical, skillful, whereas a heavyweight is maybe can get away with slightly reduced technique. I was definitely of that ilk, where I wouldn't row as well as a lightweight rower, but I made up for a little bit of power. And as you can see here, the lightweight sculler has taken out, as they're coming up to the barriers, maybe sitting half a canvas ahead.
She's doing really well, Mo, isn't she? Sophia Luwis here, and she's actually had a pretty remarkable time. She had a car accident at the end of last year, during last year, second half of last year, that just prevented her from going to the Worlds. She only got back in the boat in December, so 7 months later, here she is in the Henley semi-final, and she is absolutely stroke for stroke with the Olympic silver medalist from the Polish women's quad from Tokyo. So really great start for young Sophia Luwis.
Yeah, it's a remarkable comeback from that car accident, and as you can see here, she is taking out this race to the Polish sculler, and there's both transition. It will be a very long race with the single sculls in conditions that today it will be slightly challenging. We can see in our position where we're sat, where the water looks quite calm actually when they're racing, but it looks a little bit more bumpy and a little bit more ripples on the water as we're coming to the finish line. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the conditions play and impact onto this race.
Yeah, so through the morning it was quite blustery, but here we can see, this is the oars of Sophia Luwis, and beautiful blade work there. Actually not troubled by the conditions. I think you're right, Mo, it's been a bit more benign this afternoon. The wind's dropped. It was quite a strong headwind this morning, giving the crews some challenges, but these are lovely conditions, almost perfect conditions really for a single sculling race. And look at that composure on the face of Sophia Luwis from White Marsh Boat Club USA. She should feel pretty good about where she is in the race right now.
Oh, she looks incredibly confident there, very relaxed, very calm, and the sculling that she was doing as well was incredibly nice. The way she was going out to the front in the area that we call the catch, where she was just slightly lifting her hands, all looked very good, and the blade work looked incredibly clean. As you can see in this shot here, there are going to be some ripples where they're going to have to fight over the challenging conditions. As we saw yesterday, it did give some crews some difficulties.
So we're looking at Marta Wieliczko's sculls now, and what we're looking for here, Mo, as you said, is we're looking for them to go into the water really quick and cleanly at the full extent of the athlete's reach, and then you're not actually pulling the oar through the water, you're locking the oar in the water and levering the boat through it. That's something which takes a bit of a while to get your head around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a common misconception with the general public that we do a lot of pulling in rowing. It's predominantly a leg-based sport, so you push, and like you said, you anchor your oars in the water and you push away from from where you put your blades. And it's a really tight race here coming up to Pauling.
Credit to Sophia Luwis here. What a great scull to be on terms at this point in the race. And actually she looks really, as you said, really composed, really quite relaxed, and doesn't look like she's under the kind of pressure that she must be to be sitting alongside Marta Wieliczko. And so this is Sophia Luwis with a black boat and black suit on, and well, you can see neck and neck still. This is the camera coming up towards the halfway mark of the race here. We call it Fawley. We don't have regular marks for distance here at Henley, so we're now coming up towards the middle section of the course, and they're neck and neck still.
Yeah, they are neck and neck, and that shot just there gave you a real insight into the challenges that some of these scullers will have. I was very lucky to be in a bigger boat, 4 or an 8, but you could see how busy the water is on the other side of the booms, the non-racing part of this river. There are cruise boats, there are Elvis boats, there's loads of noise, there's loads of music. So for the scullers in this race, they'll have to really pay attention. As you can see, the conditions are blowing up, and conditions will also be impacted by some of those launches going up and down the river, trying to cheer them on, trying to do them a nice favour, but also they might be slowing them down. Yeah,
so we saw a little bit of grit and grim on the face of Marta Wieliczko there. She's actually slipped down, and I think that's the anguish we could see on her face. She knows that her boat is now behind the nose of Sophia Lewis's boat, and this is a critical part, this middle part of the race, getting into the third quarter of the race. That's often where races are won on a 2,000-metre standard world or Olympic course, and it's similar here in Henley. You're away from the spectators a little bit, and you can move. And look at her move. Look at her move now.
No, Sophia's taken a length of water onto the Polish sculler, and she's done a remarkable job coming through here, crossing Upper Thames and Rendon, and she'll go to that small little bit, eerily quiet bit along the course before they hit the enclosures in the grandstand. But she is sculling remarkably well, and she is looking incredibly relaxed, whereas the Polish sculler looks a little bit short around the front. It's a little bit tense. You can see it in the upper arms.
Here we go. Yeah, you can see that in the shoulders. Just as you were saying that, look at that shot. There's a little bit more tension. She's really having to start to exert herself. And actually, of course, what you need to be able to do is really relax and just trust the process that you've trained for. So very, very difficult to do psychologically. Well, it really is time to see now whether Marta Wieliczko from Wiesla in Poland has the experience and has the power left to race this. One of the things I noticed, Mo, is watching her yesterday, she was pushed really, really hard by University of London sculler Georgina Robinson-Ranger, who took her hard off the start, pushed hard in the middle of the race and pushed hard again at the end. So I think those Polish legs there could be a bit tired, whereas Sophia Luwis, well, she had 2 easily verdicts on Thursday and Friday, so she was able to conserve her energy, and we're seeing that now. Here we are towards the finish line. The church is just beyond the finish line, and we've got on the right of the picture the US sculler Sophia Luwis, and on the left from Poland Marta Wieliczko.
Yeah, as you can see, Sophia is doing an excellent job at maintaining that lead. The Polish sculler, like you said, had some pretty hard racing this week, and that does take its toll, especially in the single. You may recover slightly differently. One race may take it out more than another, but Sophia had a fairly easier run-in to this point. But like I said in the start line, this is semi-final, and that's where this is probably the hardest race that they will experience, and tomorrow will be incredibly tough. But the nerves and the tension is coming through in the way they scull. But Sophia has managed this race incredibly well. She's stayed very relaxed, small adjustments there as she's moving back onto her station, probably getting pushed over a little bit by the conditions, but she at the moment is doing a great job of staying in the lead.
I can now see them out of the window of our commentary box, which is sitting here just past the finish line at Henley Royal Regatta. There are about 250 metres to go, and they're coming alongside the spectators. The banks are absolutely thronged with rowing fans here. On one side, we've got the stewards' enclosure. On the other side, an increasing raft of boats of supporters. So the athletes will hear the noise and the cheers. But we're looking at the back of Sophia Luwis, who is about to book her place in the Henley final, unless Marta Wieliczko can give it one final push. Just a few, maybe 20, 25 strokes to go in these 2 singles now.
It's now or never for Wieliczko from Poland. She really needs to start making a move, and she's definitely up the rate, and you can see her coming back onto Sophia Luwis, and how is Sophia going to respond? These are really important parts of the race, and as they come through the grandstand, you can hear the crowd cheering them on.
Wieliczko has moved up, she's trying to get back in contention. Can she get the nose in front? She's left it quite late, maybe 15 strokes away from the finish line. And, well, I think Sophia Luwis is responding, but Wieliczko's caught up maybe a length and a half in the last 10 strokes or so. So she's still moving.
She's done a great job at camera back, but Sophia is just keeping her nose in front as we come towards the finish line. I think this is going to be a lot tighter than we think it might be.
Wieliczko in the red and white of Poland, furthest from us and pushing for the line and trying to break Sophia Luwis from the US. It's going to go right to the wire. This is a really close single sculls race. Oh my goodness. I think that the experience of Wieliczko just counted for something right at the end there. What an epic singles race.
Those extra 100 meters really did pay dividends for Wieliczko there. She needed that extra 100 meters in that 2,000 meter course that they normally traditionally race over.
Unbelievable finish, absolutely. As you say, the standard international distance is 2,000 meters. At Henley, we've got 2,112, and thank God for that if you're Marta Wieliczko, because those 112 meters are where you went through. Look at the final strokes here. Boom,
Remarkable.
It's probably a foot, right? It's a foot of victory, having trailed all the way through, and you can see the agony, absolute agony, lung-bursting agony, but the victory is hers, and Marta Wieliczko of Poland, #1 through to the final tomorrow.